Thank you. It's an absolute honor to be here with you today on the ancestral lands of the Kusopsum and the Lekwungen families. My name is Cheryl, and I work here at Royal Roads University. And as a participatory researcher, I'd like to start with an activity. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to flash a series of words up on the screen, and you'll have about 4 to 5 seconds to contemplate the associations you make with each word. Ready? First word. Ready? Okay. First word. TEDx. Second word. Bunnies. Third word, and final word, cancer. Now, I would hazard a guess that because you're here in the room, that you generally have more positive associations with TEDx than negative ones. Yeah? Okay. The research also shows us that we tend to have positive associations with cute, cuddly bunnies and more negative associations with cancer. Before I was diagnosed, I had negative associations with cancer too. I was 34. I had just finished my doctorate here, and I was ready to launch into the world, to find that dream job, to meet a partner, and to start a family. And instead, I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's follicular lymphoma. It's a bit of a mouthful. It's a type of cancer that generally affects people who are approximately 60 years of age, which I am not, and a type of cancer that is incurable. And even just saying that again, it kind of reminds me of that moment when the phone rang. And it was terrifying, it was scary. And then trying to navigate the cancer system was really confusing. I remember having a conversation with my doctor and him saying, together, we can beat the enemy. Or talking with friends and they told me to be brave or to be strong. Reading magazines, I read about the new war on cancer and cancer-fighting superfoods. And even in the sympathy cards I received, I was told to be brave, to be fierce, and that I could beat this. And I really appreciated all the words of support from all the people in my life. And there was something about this dominant, negative, even militaristic language that we use to talk about cancer that didn't work. No, I have cancer and it's not going away. It's here, it's here, it's here, and it's here. So, yeah, I want it gone, and I'll do anything I can to make that happen, but what would it mean to fight with myself and my body and the cells of my being for the rest of my life? Frankly, I don't want to try. I don't want to fight. Instead, how can I learn to love this body that is cancer's home? How can I learn to take care and love every cell, cancer and all? How can I learn to love myself more, living with cancer? So that's what I'm trying. And let me tell you, it is not always easy. There are moments where it's almost impossible. Those moments when you're curled up over the toilet bowl after a chemo treatment, or chemo brain hits, and you can't find the keys that you've been holding in your hand for the last 20 minutes. Or those days when you're so exhausted that you can't get out of bed. And you can't get out of bed, and yet you're rid with guilt. And you're rid with guilt, or I am anyway, because I'm still here and others aren't. So I feel like I should get out of bed. I feel like I have to. And in those moments, it's really hard to try and love myself living with cancer. And yet, with cancer, I'm also learning to love life, to live in the moment without regret, to appreciate the complexity and fragility and the beauty of life and death, and to not wait for someday. And yes, success is still something I strive for. I work here in an academic institution, so it's important. And yet I'm no longer willing to compromise living for it. And I would actually say that I've redefined what success means for me, where success is living fully. And so I take vacations, and I sleep more, and I've even changed the trajectory of my career. And just last week, I got on a plane and flew 5 hours just to hold my new baby nephew. And that's what living feels like right now for me, and it's awesome. You know, with cancer, I've learned a lot. And while I would never wish it upon anyone, if I had a choice, I wouldn't go back to the person I was before cancer. Cancer's changed me. It's changed me for the better. Actually, it's helped me learn to love this body and the person that I am even more, and for that, I'm really grateful. You know, so here I am up here talking about my story, but why is this important? Well, let me show you. You'll notice on the floor or the chairs in front of you, there are some dots. If you have a red dot on the chair in front of you, I invite you to please stand up. And if that feels uncomfortable, ask your neighbor to stand up for you. Almost 50% of this room is standing. Nearly half of you. That represents the new statistic from the Canadian Cancer Agency that 1 in 2 Canadians will be diagnosed with cancer over the course of their lives. 1 in 2. It could be you, or it could be your neighbor. So that's why this conversation is important. So I invite you to ask yourself, if that call came tomorrow, what would you say? What would you do? How would you respond? Would you tell that someone to whoop cancer's ass, to be strong, or to fight? Or instead, just maybe, could you ask that person what kind of care and support they need? How can we reinvent how we talk about cancer and how we approach cancer at home, in healthcare, and in our lives? How can we not simply fight cancer and the cells of our body? How can we also send a little love and care to our bodies and our cells, cancer and all? And what can we do to make it happen? Thank you.